Do you know what I mean? But I think he produced it. I think, you know, he put a lot of funding behind it, and he was like, we're doing this. So you see what happens though when you kind of change the narrative, because mostly what we see when slave movies are made is the narrative of, you know, the white savior, we helped you, and you don't really see the warrior spirit and energy that was all the way through slavery, which actually led to the ending of it, because it's like too much expense, all these burning down of plantations, like we can't afford this. Do you know what I mean? Like they're gonna kill us all. Like this is the narrative that's not really shown. So, and Hollywood is to maintain that, because obviously as the young ones keep coming, new generations come, it's like we're just discovering on YouTube, like all of this stuff is like history repeating. A quote from a Shirley Bassey song, like, like literally, you just your mind is blown with another yet thing that you thought you just discovered. It's like, no, 20 years ago, no, 30 years ago. We've been doing the works to try and get people to know what is actually the truth about us as African people and what our contribution is, more than contribution, like essential beginnings of everything that we experience and love today, you know, came from us, our people, Africa, and it's all been squashed. So
this is a real one, straight from the heart. Another one, DJ Brown K, Mr. Spaceman.
Cornell.
Greetings, and welcome to the Out of Noise podcast with your host Stella B
and Nat Nye.
This is the podcast where we bring our peace
to the mic,
and we welcome you back frequently to tune into our frequency. We're back. It's been a little bit of time, actually, like about a week.
A fortnight, yeah.
It's been a fortnight, and I missed it. Did you?
Yeah. I mean, we want to ramp it up, really. We want to ramp it. So whoever's our day ones, you know them ones where we say that. Yeah, our day ones. You know, when we look back at this time when there was like 30 views, and half of them was us on different devices. The day ones who've been with us through these times here, you would have missed us, but don't worry. Our plan is basically to ramp up the level of activity, the output of content. Put it out. Because first of all, we've got a lot to talk about. We've always got a lot to talk about, and also we are needed.
We're needed. We need. Our point of view is needed. Like, this world is a bit, you know, to say the least. And I think what we found from some of the feedback is like just refreshing to hear these kind of points of view in a public arena, which is what we're doing. We're putting it out there that, you know, these thoughts do count for something. And we're not the majority voice, but we're not the minority voice either. The representative of the voice that has been squashed or silenced.
We are the empowering voice. We are the empowering voice. Basically, voices like our own don't get mainstream attention because it doesn't suit the mainstream agenda. And when we're talking about trending topics and a variety of other topics that we will, when we do become seasonal, when we do address it, they don't really have the perspective of Pan-Africans or what 19 Keys will talk on high level conversation. They don't really have that. We're reduced and restricted to a certain level of dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue is more like, and there's space for it, but it's like the only space taken up is entertainment, where what we're trying to bring is edutainment, you know? So we still have a laugh, we still have banter, and it's still like, you know, very informative, but there's knowledge in there, and there's like a perspective that's not just for the laughs and for the jokes only. Like, there's a serious lot of things going on out there, which explains why people want to escape a lot of the time. But then we also accept certain things and end up just complaining all the time and not seeing that we're disempowering ourselves in that. Like, truly, we have a lot of power and can reclaim this planet, this world for ourselves to be everything that we dream of. Like, as children, when we're growing up, all the dreams that we have this sense of freedom, and we feel like we can attain them, and then slowly we just kind of realize that, oh, maybe not, because I have to do this and the responsibilities have come and the restrictions are there. But what we're offering is like a point of perspective that shows that no, you really can realize your dreams if you just allow yourself to express that side of you and not just complain all the time and just gossip all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And as you're saying, in terms of the attacks, so we talk from a very, very African and Black perspective, and it's not only a realization of the restrictions and the toughness of life. It's like we are literally under attack on a daily basis when we open up our phones, or if we're on television, or if we're walking down the road, or if people are actually in a working environment, or the children at school. Whatever remit and whatever aspect or part of life, we are finding ourselves under some sort of psychological attack, and it's not like small light things. So instead of saying, you can understand why people want to go into escapism and find escapism. You can understand it, but we ourselves, we have been involved in the Pan-African community for a very long time. We've learned and understood, overstood and understood our history, our glorious history, and we are connected to our purpose. That purpose is what drives us to bringing our dreams into fruition, because our dreams is actually when we're talking about freedom and such, what we're actually describing and talking about is liberation. Yeah. And that is our dream for our people and for the world, even beyond for African people, but for
our people,
for the world,
and for humanity.
Yeah.
As a whole, we feel we have that right to aspire for that sense of, being able to participate in this big grand game in your true purpose, like living in your true purpose and experiencing life fully, like, to the fullest expression of yourself. This body, this avatar that we're in, doesn't have to feel so limiting, it doesn't have to feel so restricted, but it can do some days because of the amount of distractions and nonsense, and all, like you said, just opening your phone, just waking up in the morning. And you shouldn't do this, actually. You really shouldn't just first thing in the morning have your phone, but we do. It was designed that way. We are all addicted. It is doing its purpose. But yeah, like, attack. Attack. I've just opened my eye. There's still sleep in my eye. Attack. Some incident. And yeah, through every aspect of life. You walk down the road, someone wants to attack you. Attack the black. Attack the black. That's like, seems to be some sort of thing in life. And obviously I know others feel similar in terms of, but I'm talking that from a Black perspective. That's what I am. That's my experience. I know that racism is a very big factor in the UK of making my life not where it should be or could be, from those restrictions. But we battling that, and we're
driving through regardless, because it's purpose.
Yeah,
and that's what we champion. We champion dreams that are interconnected with purpose. Yes. It has to have purpose, and it's the purpose that makes us persevere.
That's right. And we are the poets, the people extraterrestrial substance. Hey. Yes, we are people of extraterrestrial substance. That's right, the poets.
Yes.
So I just got to remind you of that. So that means that we have astrological vibrations. We have those concepts that come from, as above, so below. Like, we are tuned into the frequency of our ancestors, of the many planes and many dimensions, and we tap into that spirit to deliver our purpose and our message, and we let that flow through us, and we feel at one and at zen with that truth that we live in. So that's I just wanted to drop that little one in there.
That's right.
So yeah, we're talking trending subjects still.
Yeah. We're gonna talk on trending subjects until we hit a critical mass.
Yeah, we need to get them subscribers up, man.
Yeah,
so
please do.
Like this video, share it, subscribe. You know what to do. All of the usual stuff. You watch these videos, but we need the family to help this thing grow to where it potentially should be, could be, and will be. But yeah, like and subscribe into this channel.
And buy us a coffee. Buy us a coffee, because that goes a long way to boosting this as well.
And we've got some exciting merch coming as
well.
We do.
Some out of noise.
Hey.
So if you're one of those day ones.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some giveaways potentially. We're going to do some stuff, but we ourselves will be busting the tops, very soon, very shortly. And we're really excited about that one. Yeah,
that's right. And this is, so basically what we're doing as well is we're documenting our journey.
Yes.
So Stella earlier was saying about when we get to a certain level or whatnot, we don't even want to get rid of these videos. When people get to a certain level, they do like a complete clean sweep, and then it gives the impression that they always started off at a certain heights. So we're encouraging, and on our journey we're learning, and we just want to drop them nuggets and them gems out there. And basically a part of that is when you are starting your venture, when you are starting your podcast, or you're on a social media journey, as we know, the attention economy is huge and it's getting ever more bigger. So if you are on this journey, then one of the key things is to have something to sell, merchandise.
Yeah.
Have something to sell. So we've been studying, and now we're putting the theory into practice. So with that, we're going to have some merchandise which enables our day ones and our ever-growing community to support us through those means. And by supporting us, you're wearing a message that supports you, because you also want to be out of the noise. And you want to bring your piece to the mic, don't you?
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And it's an example of the hard work, it's the materializing of that merch. You can see the hard work that's gone into this podcast. It's more than just we're just getting on screen and talking and that's it. No, there is some depth to what we're planning for this world, and this is part of the journey. So yeah, that's so exciting to think about those boss moves that we're doing there. So looking forward to sharing those.
And also I wanted to say as well, like, the reason why merchandise is important as well, and having your brand on it, out of noise, right? What it represents, Stella?
Yeah, it's representing the stress and the daily traffic and the just too much noise, and stepping out of that zone and entering a space of like, okay, we have the right to speak on this mic. We're bringing our piece to the mic, and then through that you are gonna gain that zen, that peace, that meditation space, that freedom, the knowledge of self, and free yourself from all the noise out there.
Right. So if you're rocking an out of noise t-shirt, an out of noise hoodie, you got an out of noise mug, and whichever else that we've got, when you're rocking that, that's what that represents. Now, when it comes to certain fashion labels, and we covered this in our previous episode, so if you haven't seen it, go back. But when you're rocking a Balenciaga because it's cool, what are you representing? What are you wearing that represents? What is it that you are wearing, and what does that represent? And are you then therefore happy to represent that? So Balenciaga came out, or it's come out about what they are about. But what about the others? What about the ones that don't really get that that kind of level of scrutiny, or that somehow managed to bypass their way in terms of it, like Nike or Adidas? What is their roots, and why should you be happy to rock that? So these are the things, like when there's a intention behind our brand, which is there to uplift humanity, essentially. So when you're wearing that, that's what you're representing.
Yeah.
And there's clarity behind it. It's not just some family obscure name, and then when you actually lift up the covers, they're doing all kinds of things that you wouldn't we would not condone.
Yeah.
In fact, you'd want to blaze up.
Which that was happening. A lot of people were blazing it up. Okay, so let's talk about the trending subjects. What's been happening in the week, Nat Nai?
So we are actually in a week of Valentine's week.
Yeah.
When's Pancake Day?
Shrove Tuesday. I think next Tuesday.
Is it next Tuesday?
I think. But I mean, for us, Pancake Day is every single day.
It is.
We've been eating that. I do.
Yeah.
The vegan pancakes, man. It's because they
are the ones. Might have to do an out of noise pancake special. You know what I'm saying?
Spelt flour.
Yeah.
Smoothies in the morning, pancakes in the morning, pancakes all day. Yeah.
So Valentine's, and then there's been a lot of awards.
Yeah,
so the Brits,
the Brits,
the Grammys.
Still haven't watched it yet.
No, we've started seeing clips.
Yeah, me too. Like, gone are the days of actually getting down with award ceremonies. Like, when I was young, I was so into, me and my sisters, it was shut down when any award ceremony was kicking. It was like, oh my gosh, we were in it. The magic of it was there, but now, or for years, the magic has not been there. Like, even the MOBA awards and all those kind of prestigious awards that are representing black music of black origin, it's just not got the magic for me. And then Grime Daily Awards and all of that kind of stuff, like, I'm not taking away from, like, it's no shade, like, what anyone is getting out of those things, but it's just not got that, doesn't have the it's not the magic is not there. It doesn't have that spell casting thing over me anymore. I really don't feel those things. Okay,
so wait, I said there's been a lot of award shows, and I mentioned two.
Yeah, there was the Brit Awards.
Yeah,
you're thinking of the Oscars, which is coming up.
That's kind of come up, yeah,
in March.
Is it March? I swear it's end of February, no?
Yeah, okay, maybe end of February. And there was I think the Emmys.
Ah, yes.
Was it the Emmys?
Yeah, I think the Emmy. There was some form. I think there was more than two. Feels like there was more than two.
The BET Awards?
No.
See, we are out of the loop.
Anyway, it feels like there's been a lot of award show, and one of the actually, because you just said spells and matches, I've got a question for you. But basically, in this time frame, I just find it curious. I was just wondering, and maybe if you are watching, then please drop a comment if you know. But I'm going to do my research into it as well. I was just wondering, why now? Why February? Why is February such a key month for recognition of the previous year?
Yeah.
We've got to pause it. Yeah, so basically I was saying that, okay, first of all, before I continue, the Oscars is not in February. You were right, it is in March. But I'm still curious in terms of why this period of time is a point of awards. Like, why is it now? So I'll look into it. There might be some historical, esoteric reason as to why this particular period of time. It's also like what we discovered in terms of the April Fool's Day, the roots of that
Gregorian calendar. Yeah.
It was a switch. It was a switch from the calendar.
Yeah. So it was the ones that hadn't accepted it as the 1st of April
were called fools.
Yeah. Deep.
So originally the year would begin in April. Naturally, that makes sense because April is spring. New beginnings. Why would it start in winter? Winter in the middle of winter at that
time of
death.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Spring is the beginning, and the financial world actually is in line with that as well.
That's very interesting. I think it's probably a lot tied to that being the reason.
Yeah. Because money is energy.
Oh, another interesting fact, which is not quite the same vein, but kind of just came into my head. But did you know that IKEA and Rolex are actually, in fact, registered charities? But we're going to talk about that more in another podcast another time. But it just popped into my head. So I just thought I'd mention it as an interesting fact.
Yeah, shout out to Mary,
my sister, for putting us onto that. Mary, she let us know. So
yeah, we're still stunned. We're still shocked.
Wow. We need to learn this financial literacy game properly.
Yeah. So yeah, we want to find out what is the reasons why this particular period of time is a focus on awards and the I guess the most prestigious awards in the West, essentially, when it comes to
and you wanted to ask me a question about that?
Yeah, so basically I'm flowing.
Okay.
Just tell us right, next, hurry up.
No.
So basically, because I'm saying that basically, what is the deeper reason for this period of time as well? And when you're talking about the magic of the award show that used to draw you in from before, and you feel like it's lost that now, I suppose. But what is it back then that would be a draw for you? Like, why was awards show appealing to you? And what awards show in particular? Or were you just interested in all
I loved the Oscars very much so, especially because I wanted to be an actress. I still do. So I was very passionate by that. And I loved watching the Oscars for that reason. So that's that. And then with regards to the music, same thing. It was the stars, the celebrities, watching them all dressed up, receiving their awards. Not so much the Grammys as such. That's more came into my attention maybe later ages, because it always felt like an older kind of award ceremony in my time. It was more, we did watch the Brits. We did watch, what did we watch? I can't list them at the moment. It's so weird. It's like, I can't. But we literally watched every single award ceremony and looked forward to it annually. But the music, it was like, yeah, the Mobos, all that kind of stuff. The main events, the main acts doing a massive performance, on stage and doing their special performance. I think things like that would be appealing. So it's a very, it's bright. The stars are brightly lit. They look their best. Performances, you get to watch them and hear your favorite music that you've heard throughout the year. And then you really are in love with some of the groups that are being nominated. So you just really want the best man or woman to win. So you get into the emotion of it as well. Like, I think as a young one, that's something you aspire to be, and you're like, I want that award one day. Like, there is that element to it.
So the pomp and ceremony.
Yeah, the pomp and ceremony of it, like the red carpet bit where you're gonna see all the celebrities walking and looking stunning in their outfits. I don't know what Sam Smith got put in for the Brits. That was really cold. I don't know, like, that was just so. It was like people were mocking it straight away, and I just thought, why are they humiliating this guy? This is like, this is not right. Like, yeah, that was jokes. But yeah, like people dress their best, and yeah, the tone of like, well, I didn't really do this, but people do that thing where they criticize the outfits of what people are wearing, and that became a huge thing with that comedian. Do you remember her? She was like older. She died recently. What's her name? Like, she's hilarious. Like, but she was so catty about people and what they'd be wearing. And she had this show with Kelly Osbourne as well, and they just criticized people's outfits. I think it was called "What are they wearing?" or something. I can't remember.
Okay.
American. She's like that proper older woman, like cussing, to the short hair bob. You don't know. Anyway, yeah. So Oscars and that, like, they'll come out and they'll do a whole entertainment show about it, where they're like analyzing what people were, and it's just I think that part helped take away the magic as well. Those kind of shows and those kind of things where they were like having really humiliating these celebrities. Like, there was a huge period of that, and it just, I think those kind of things just cut through the magic of it, because they were humiliating all these stars. Like, look how they eat, look how like, it was all this kind of obsession with making celebrities look not their best for doing really normal things. So I don't know, that I think that was the beginning of like changing it for me. And then after that, it was more like, I understood the industry. I understood it at depth. I understand what it actually was. I understand the spell that I was under to like think that that was my dream. I still love acting. I still love, you know, dramas and all that kind of stuff. But I understand Hollywood or Hollyweird. So I'm like, you know, got to find your own avenue and your own pathway to get, you know, to be those kind of things that you aspire to be, if it's in the music or acting or whatever, because that world is very, it can be very dark.
It's very there's a lot of evil to it, and like I think you made some really good points, and especially the last point in terms of like when you see something for what it is, you can't unsee it. It's very hard to unsee when you see it for what it is. And when it comes to the film and music industries, the amount of wickedness that has happened and happening and happens, it is hard to unsee that stuff, right? It's hard to accept certain things as well. When you see the basically when you see beyond the glitz and the glam, and you see what's actually behind all of that, it's very hard to unsee all of that stuff. And basically, because of their domination, we associate acting with that. We associate music with that. Like in terms of, it's hard to see beyond the domination of those industries. So their awards ceremonies take such a precedence. Their forms of recognition take such a precedence that if you cannot see yourself making it in that world, then you can't see yourself making it at all. And the thing is, film or acting and music, I mean, I would say it goes without saying, but really in the context of what I've just said, these have existed a long time ago. This is a blink of an eye, really. The Oscars is entering its 95th year. The Grammys, I don't know how many, but it wouldn't be much more different from that. 60-something years. There's a blink of an eye in terms of in comparison to the existence of music and the existence of acting even. So our relationship with our talents and our gifts shouldn't be hinged upon that industry.
Well, particularly if you're black as well, because as we'll probably discuss closer to the times of the Oscars, it's like Halle Berry was the first black woman and that was at the 75th awards, and then there's been a big gap since then. And it's like we keep aspiring to these goals that they have designed not to be attainable for black actors and actresses. So we are still the exception to the rule, and okay, it's got to be a person of color. So I'm representing black, so I'm talking about the black experience here, the African experience, let's call it what it is. And so from that perspective, it's like when you keep trying to, you know, get in the door and be amongst that without thinking about, let's actually just create our own. We have Nollywood, we have like a huge African economy in terms of film and entertainment. It's like, let's tap into that as the diaspora as well. Let's all connect the dots and really make our events the big ones. And I know there are huge events and things like that, but we in the West have to kind of turn our attention, you know, the diaspora have to turn our attention to Africa. We are the ones who are going to give it that reverence. We're the ones that are going to lift it to full view and for us by us. So that's like, we don't need to aspire or cry over the fact that, okay, Woman King is not nominated, because Woman King is nominated in Essence Film Festival, or, you know, a Nollywood equivalent of the Oscars. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's nominated there, and that's where it needs to, that's fine, you know, that's enough for us. We need to just start thinking in those ways, because else we're still kind of beggy and demand, we need this, and it's like, well, actually it's in our rules, we're gonna keep it this way, we're maintaining this for another 100 years, for another 100 years, you're going to be complaining about, Oscar's so white, hashtag. Like, nah, bro. Like, we need to kind of just accept that our amazing standard is just not going to be recognized.
And why do we want it to be recognized by them? When you look into the roots of Hollywood and you realize the first Hollywood film was Birth of a Nation, we've spoken about this before as well, actually. So check that episode out as well when we're talking about Oscar's So White returned. And when we say about the roots, it's Birth of a Nation, they have not apologized for that. And when you look at the Wikipedia, when you look at the Wikipedia, you have to read quite a bit down, right, to see.
Yeah,
what
before they call it a racist thing. It's like they're writing about it like this amazing, groundbreaking film. You know, the first of its kind, and it's like that sets the tone for Hollywood, like what it's designed for in terms of keeping whiteness at the top, you know, the thing that everyone aspires to, because movies are magic spells. Movies are, you know, they're in entrapment. They're in enticing. They put you in a kind of trance and a spell to kind of get you enamored with the stars and the look that you want to have, and you know, all that kind of stuff. It's very well done, and so the narrative has to remain that way. So they're maintaining a system.
Yeah, they've kept, the very root of its very beginning is what it is, and they have, what I'm saying is that if the fact that they have not apologized for it, the fact that it is still recognized as a pivotal moment in their history, and it is racist, knowing that, self-esteem says that I don't want no part of that. Why do I want to aspire to have that? Why? I don't want it.
What's his name? Nat.
Oh yeah, Nate, the one who did Nat Turner. Yeah.
Look what they did to him. Nate, he made a film that was to turn that film's title on its head. You know, that was the point. You know, because Nat Turner was a rebel with a cause. He actually, you know, led a revolutionary moment on a enslavement field.
Plantation. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a very important story to be told, but they literally they successfully, because where has he since? It's almost like he was a sacrifice. Like, it's almost like he was like, I know when this film comes out, that's it for me. And literally, it's like, it's been that. Hollywood is probably did their 10-year, 15-year ban because you don't see him anymore. And he's a great actor. Do you know what I mean? But I think he produced it. I think, you know, he put a lot of funding behind it. Yeah. And he was like, we're doing this. So you see what happens though when you kind of change the narrative, because mostly what we see when slave movies are made is the narrative of, you know, the white savior, we helped you, and you don't really see the warrior spirit and energy that was all the way through slavery, which actually led to the ending of it, because it's like too much expense, all these burning down with plantations, like we can't afford this. Do you know what I mean? Like they're gonna kill us all. Like this is the narrative that's not really shown. So, and Hollywood is to maintain that, because obviously as the young ones keep coming, new generations come, it's like we're just discovering on YouTube, like all of this stuff is like history repeating. A quote from a Shirley Bassey song, like like literally, you just like your mind is blown with another thing that you thought you just discovered. It's like, no, 20 years ago, no, 30 years ago. We've been doing the works to try and get people to know what is actually the truth about us as African people and what our contribution is. More than contribution, like essential beginnings of everything that we experience and love today, you know, came from us, our people, Africa, and it's all been squashed. So like just knowing that and learning that means that, okay, like do we, at a point we just have to be like, nah, okay, that's it, fine, we turn our backs because you guys are just not having it.
Yeah, no, like literally, like my perspective is bonfire upon it, right? I want no part of it. I don't understand why we want a part of that. Why do we hold it? That is for us, and this goes for any one of us, really and truly. You're demonstrating a lack of self-esteem. You're demonstrating a lack of pride in your people. You're demonstrating that, and people. I guess some people do it out of ignorance because they don't know. But what they do know in terms of the racist roots, but what they do know is that racism, by the objectification of us, by the crime of reducing us to a single story or single reductive stories, it continues today. People talk about it all the time. Yet the overlooking of talent, not only in award shows, but the overlooking of talent generally widespread. And also the what they do in terms of the ownership of what we produce. So when there is a narrative that is more empowering, the money doesn't flow back into our community. So all of these different behaviors, and we're just mentioning a few, right? We're just talking about a few. In that context, to see all of that, to know all of that, and then still aspire for that and still hold it up as a pinnacle. No, they're meant to come, like, if there is any sort of acceptance of that, they're meant to come with apology. They're meant to come with corrective behavior. And then we can still be like, I don't know about it. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it demonstrates real low self-esteem to aspire to that. And unfortunately, the ones of us that are at the, who have got the greatest of fame and are among the wealthiest still aspire to that, and that is problematic. It's problematic. Check Beyonce, for example. Beyonce is in the Grammys. She's awarded the most awards ever in the Grammys, but when it comes to the main award, she's never won it. And
album of the year, she's never won it. And when it comes to it, when it's all said and done, people will say things like, Beyonce, when she makes her own appearance, she will raise the viewership. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so basically, like Hollywood, the nature of it, the Grammys, Beyonce. I was saying about Beyonce, keep getting snubbed for the main award, basically. So it's like, and her presence also, apparently it boosts up the viewership of the award show, right? Like, people want to see, as they were saying, the magic of it. People want to who are drawn to these stars, they'll turn up to see. And yeah, it's a snub, and these snubs wouldn't happen if she was European. So I just think, basically, when it's all said and done, we focus that energy towards our own stuff. It would be more powerful if we were like, actually, do you know what? Until you lot make a change, you're not going to see us there. I don't care if you give me an award. That would be more powerful if people are nominated and then they're given an award and they just don't turn up. That would be like, so you can't diss me last year, nominate me for an award this year, or even make me win an award this year, and I forget about what happened last year. Because that's what happens, right? They will do the Oscars so white thing, then the following year, because of the backlash, they'll give black people something, and then we'll forget what just happened last year, and it'll be like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing, that means change, etc, etc, etc. And then the following year they return back to normal, and then we do the same thing. It's maddening.
It's maddening. We're such powerful, magnetic, beautiful, incredible, gifted, creative, genius humans, or more than humans. We're just ethereal beings that create such magic. And we kind of sell ourselves short when we keep aspiring, or even like suppressing the gifts of the artistry, because we want to fit into the box that is molded for us by these individuals, these groups of people that maintain the society's culture. Like, they maintain how much people feel, how empowered people feel, because you give this thing that's so unattainable, seemingly, because guess what? To be up in the award ceremonies like that, there's a lot of sacrifice these people have to make. Take away the hard work. They're very hardworking. No one can take away that from them. But on top of that, there is so much compromise to who you are as a person, because it's all about who you know, who's your friend, who's introduced you to who. Like, let's not even talk about the other aspects of it, like who are you going to sleep with, who are you going to do this to, like who are you going to pay, like all of those side of it. So everything is nepotism. Like, everything is like who you know to get to those stages. Like, we've got friends that have learned that about the MOBO Awards, like, so we know people that are literally going through that system and seen, okay, so it's like, it is a bit of that. It is a bit like, you know, Louis, what's his name? Louis's hand on the Spice Girl, what's her name? Mel B's bum, you know, when they're live on telly. Like, it is a little bit of
Louis Walsh.
Yeah, Louis.
I thought he was.
I did. Sorry, wow, that was. Okay, it was my James Brown came out. Ow! Yeah, no, I thought that too. Like, I was like, what the hell? But, you know, they're all a bit fruity, man. So, yeah.
I thought he was fruity. I thought he was gay.
No. Nah, you cannot say that. I'm going to have to edit that. I'm going to have to edit that.
I thought he was gay.
No, I don't know. I don't know, but he had his hand there and she's like, oh, like she makes a big deal and she's so, I love her for doing that. But that's Hollywood, man. That is it. Like, especially for women, they have to, Hollywood, sorry, and even the music industry. You heard Ashanti the other day talking on a podcast, talking about her relationship with Irv Gotti. Is it Irv Gotti?
Irv Gotti,
yeah. Her relationship. The girl was young. The man was married. Like, there's so much to what she was saying. Like, she didn't even deliver it in that way, but it's like she just said it and then everyone can just accept that, okay, this is the industry. Like, what is with producers with that? There's a talented woman, girl, young lady, and you are making them feel like, okay, if you want to make it in this thing and I can give you the world, but you're going to have to.
I mean, it's trash, isn't it?
It's trash.
It's trash.
So it reduces all of that magic I just spoke of, that magic, that talent, that incredible, you know, gift to the world of like creativity, you know, inspiration, all the things we need to get through this world and to enjoy it, essentially, and to enhance the experience of being here. Music, films, like they're just so great for the soul. And yet the people who create are restricted. They're reduced to commodities, essentially. It's like, it's business, the music business.
I hate that
the
phrase.
film business.
I hate it. I'm against it. I hate that phrase because I do, and I have to say it again and again because I do really hate it. Like it's because what you're describing is like what this is actually meant for and what is actually happening as a result. And I can, like, for me, it equals just evil, right? If you're supposed to do, it's the same thing with the medical industry. If there's certain herbs out there that is useful and needed for the body, and it is commodified and turned into something else that has a series of side effects, and that's what people are being given instead of something that hasn't got side effects, then what do you call that? Really and truly, that's deliberate for making money and for control and for mass genocide. Let's put it straight. Like, when it comes to the music industry and the entertainment world, it's not just entertainment. It's not just entertainment, period. Because when they are culturally shaping society and societal behaviors, and then when we see some things in the most extreme examples through young people enacting what they've seen, then who are we holding responsible? Only the young person? Oh, well, they shouldn't have done that, their parents, and that's what we're not holding the influence at all because it's framed as entertainment. What kind of entertainment is that? There's certain things that has led to pass, even in these award shows. Like, I remember before, maybe 10 years ago maybe even up to 10 years ago, where satanic performances would not be acceptable. And I don't understand how that is deemed. That I don't understand. Like, I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form. I follow. I'm of the belief of spirituality, and really African spirituality at that. But I don't understand why there is this huge space for satanic performances, like in your face, blatant and bait satanic performances.
Yeah, no, that was like. I know people were like, so he was honouring. There's this weird thing about he was honouring Nicki Minaj because she did a performance some years back which banished her from the whole thing, which was the whole theme was like, her alter ego is was it Polanski, who is a paedophile.
Even
like it's really weird. Sick. Like, it's such a weird persona to embody or take on, and doesn't really relate to her amazing skills in terms of as a rapper. It's like, why have you chosen that as an alter ego? Why have you chosen that? And do they choose it? I don't even know. But anyway, like, so she did that performance years back, and she got kind of like ousted for it. So a lot of fans were like, "Oh, how comes?" And I was like, "That's not the main point, guys. It's like neither of them should be doing that." It's like, hey, like everyone's missed the point. Like
is Satanism
talking and
now
complain.
cool?
Yeah, like you complaining about the fact that he's getting a blight. It's like, can we complain about the fact that he's doing it in the first place? Like, or that Nicki was doing that in the first place.
That?
It's like, why are you?
Why is that acceptable? Why is it not?
That's not a racist. Yeah, that's not, to me. That's like, neither person should be doing that. That's not anything to aspire to want in your life. Like,
in your face Satanism. Same thing with Lil Nas X. I don't get that. What's this in your face Satanism? This in your face. Anyway.
Yeah, we've talked about that as well, Bill.
De La Soul, that's the next.
Yeah, so Trugoy,
The Dove.
the Dove, yeah. Rising Power, rest in peace. Like, you know, we thought of him, we thought of Ty, our brother Ty, another dope rapper from the UK, who actually has a song with De La Soul, which we listened to on the day that we heard about Trugoy's passing. And yeah, it's pretty, like, it's intense, man. Like, the month before, they're due to finally get like the first 3 albums be allowed to be played and streamed. I think they bought back the rights, and you know, so they had that freedom now. And yeah, he had health conditions. They said they haven't really announced his how he died, which is a lot of things going on. And we're kind of normalizing these young deaths. He's 54. That's young, man. You know. And I know everything is everything, and I do accept that, but I also recognize that there's an orchestration of, you know, our people are living in a world full of like just a lot of stuff that means that the health isn't like the main priority, or we don't even know how necessarily to be healthy and eat well, and a lot of the foods that in our community is staple in our diet is just killing us. Younger and younger, let alone the environment, like take away the food, the environment as well, like there's just so much to it. And obviously it was a very stressful experience that they had as a group, you know, when you hear their backstory. But nevertheless, they provided the world with such great tunes, some great vibes, and it's like, oh gosh, it's as he said in one interview, or not he did, the other brother was saying it's bittersweet because now we're like tuned in even more. Like you were tuned in anyway. The ironic thing is that he was talking about like native tongues a lot. Like that was quite poignant. You just kept want to look into native tongues. You just had this sudden urge, and you was really going in actually, Nat. And then next minute it was like
it's synchronatic for sure. And the reason why I was going into native tongues and being inspired by native tongues is because basically De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest, Black Sheep, Queen Latifah, Money Love, and a few others that the name's not coming to my head right now. They formed a collective called Native Tongues, and that collective was actually a movement, and that movement inspired a lot of hip hop artists that followed generations after. And the thing is, with Native Tongues, I'm looking at that and I'm like, wow, this is in terms of like, first of all, what is the means and roots of success? You need to. There is no in this world. The individual success story is a myth. For any individual that is popped up and we're shown as an individual success, lo and behold, they've got there because there is a team around them, and there is several different people that make their success a reality. There is no individual success.
No, and I think that's because you bounce off, you know, as like solo artists do exist, of course they do, but you bounce off the energy of that collective, like especially when you're all on that same journey and that mind space. Like there's so much that can come out of that in terms of like the creativity that you can tap into, that energy, man. And like obviously the love, you know, because creativity is second to love. Like you're in the space of love, like you're creating, you're making, and you're transmutating things from your experiences day to day into like a positive way to connect to an audience, to a person. So having that collective spirit and that energy to tap into, yes, of course it creates all this greatness because okay, they're teaching, you're learning, there's mentorship, there's like, you know, there's passing around the information, the shared knowledge, and then obviously with the native songs it was an African rooting. It was like that, so they were putting out there into the mainstream. They opened the doorway to a lot of the mainstream acts that followed, you know, and then the bag became, as most of them have been saying in interviews, like the money became the incentives. And, you know, the high execs, they were going into the hood. They were going in to find the next big rap person and cutting out all of the community energy and, you know, doing the typical thing is like, you on your own. You know, like they come like so wormy and devilish, like, oh, you know, well, they're holding you back, you know, and when it's a solo. So people break up, the ego, all of the typical stuff happens. But they, like you said, all the main successful people, they do come out of a collective.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what you're saying and artistically, creatively, but in a tangible sort of sense. Like, if you have got a group of you that are doing similar things, or a group of you that are championing a movement, then of course that's going to go further. Of course it's going to go further and faster than if you're trying to do, it's impossible. You can't do everything yourself. So there are going to be, what we see, even with Native Tongues, what we see is the artists, but behind the artists, you have people who are doing the business side of things, the managers, the booking agents, the other elements that make it get out there, the DJs. You can see, like, Prince Paul, for example, was instrumental in even De La Soul getting their leg up. So these figures are always important, right? And so when I'm saying we're duped when it's like, oh, the individual, oh, I did it all myself. That's a lie. It's not possible for you to do it all yourself. So what you mean, you are the one who basically you put everything down together creatively, and you managed your own career, and you were the booking agent, and you were the venue itself, and you were the festival itself, and you were like every element.
Well, I mean,
you were the investor as well.
There's certainly
like, all of that. You were all of those things. That's not
just
true.
To say on the point. No, but they're certainly tapping into a lot of these young ones that are having to do a lot of things themselves in terms of utilizing the tools. That's like, okay, now I'm a producer. Now I'm producing my own music. Okay, now I'm gonna go find a way to promote it and market it myself and put it on put it on Spotify or whatever through DistroKid or whatever those apps are. Now I'm gonna go make my music videos. Now I'm gonna get my mate to do the video or whatever.
Yeah, but you had to get your mate. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what I'm trying to say is the industry has cut out a lot of the things that are. Remember when we went to that music industry event and the guy was like, "Oh, there's no talent," and he was chatting rubbish. But another thing that came out of the talks is that they are getting people even on the more cheap, because they are like they have to be already with 100,000 million people following them, and guess what, to get to that they've had to do a lot of the grind first before they get signed. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, but
so it's a separate point, but I just wanted to highlight a lot of people are now having to manage themselves and do all these kind of things to start with, to a point before they even get signed.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, in terms of the difference now is that you have to be a social media influencer. That's the difference. But people before were doing the grind even more so, because the talent has gone down. So if you're just focused on putting out content, like any content, then, and you become a social media influencer essentially that does music, then that's your form of grind. But you weren't putting the graft into your craft. Yeah, the craft is what suffers from that. That's what I'm trying to say, because the first thing you're trying to do is get attention. The first thing before anything else. And then, you see so much talent. Like, you see people playing their guitars on, like they just do their music. That's all they do, and they put it out there. The algorithm isn't supporting it. The algorithm you have to pay for. Like, you have to and who's got 50k a week to do that? No one, because they're trying to get that 50k. So then they end up cutting that to go and do something else that's going to grab the attention. Look at the algorithms for yourself on your feed. Like, what comes on your feed? Breasts. Like torsos, breasts, like, I don't know, like just all stuff that is just attention grab, funny videos, people pulling, like Black Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So people reduce their actual messaging for the thing that can grab the attention. And so once they get there, then these executives and these people will start pumping money or invest in these type of people. But that's what I'm saying. That's the sacrifice of the art, of the true artist. That part of it is gone. But that was digressing from your main point. Yeah, basically, in order, and this is probably a message more for the conscious artists. If we do actually want to make waves and make a difference as per our purpose of doing our art form, then we do need to start thinking more collectively, because the individual thing does not work. Even in today's, you can do all of that and it's still not, like, there's people who are doing all that, but they're not doing it because you're not coming as a group. So if you're a group and you put something out and there's 10, 20, 30 of you all pushing that one thing, of course it's going to break the algorithm in a way that only you can't do it. Like, of course. So that's what Native Tongues was able to do. And they're not just a group of individuals, they're groups of groups. So you have groups of groups working together. Of course they couldn't, the industry struggled to hold them back. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, how can you? It's so true. How can you stop that? Yeah. So if we have that, like today, if we have groups of groups, but if we have groups of groups and groups of individuals, if we just have one big force or whatnot, it will be much harder for that to be held back. I agree. But we're basically programmed to do our own thing. Like, we do everything ourselves, and we're not interconnected. So when we do put out, we make everything happen. When we do put it out, we're putting out essentially to the same artists and the same group of people
who have not
that do the
necessarily
same thing
tapped
as
in.
us.
Yeah, and they've not necessarily tapped into the mindset of like, okay, we automatically support this.
Yeah, because they're doing their own thing.
Because they're doing their own
They're thinking
things.
about putting out their own thing and pushing out their own thing.
Well, shout out to Village 101, which is a concept that is very similar to what you're talking about.
Big up Muti.
WhatsApp, yeah, big up to Muti for setting that one up, and obviously with Poetry Alliance, which is going to change its name eventually. That was the intention that Nat had as well, which is like a group for poets to support each other. So there are other things on the horizon to do with that. So for those who have that mindset, who do know, okay, look, it is about us supporting each other. We don't need to look outside of ourselves. Like, we have to kind of take ownership of what the reality of our situation is, which is we can only thrive once we know that we work together as a collective. So we're more than surviving, we're thriving as a collective group, and supporting one another in that authentic community spirit and energy that we can tap into, which is natural for us.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's how the paradigm shifts. And what we have to learn from the past is what you were referring to earlier, in terms of when certain money people come in, they're coming in with their money to divide and conquer, and that's what we have to see it as. So we have to ensure that the relationships, when they do occur or whatnot, they are in our favor. And that is the lesson from De La Soul, really, because De La Soul was producing incredible music, and you can say that hip hop and hip hop's fans have been robbed of De La Soul, really, of those 3 albums. They've been robbed of it for decades because of the entanglement and the strangulation of their intellectual property and their artistic property through record labels that were supposedly friends. So they were instrumental in making Tommy Boy Records relevant. Tommy Boy Records did not treat them as family. This is
business.
This is a straight up exploitation. And so and the effects of this, I see the depth of it, right? Because back then, when you listen to those when you listen to hip hop connoisseurs or those artists of those time, they'll talk of more of a balance. So yes, you did have the gangster element. Yes, you did have the pop element. But yes, you also had the conscious element as well, and you had a strong Pan-African element as well that was present. Knowledge is a key aspect of hip hop. So rap, DJ, graffiti,
knowledge.
Did I say dance?
Dance, yeah, break dance.
Knowledge is a pillar.
Yep.
They've removed knowledge out of it.
I mean, it's so deep. It's so deep because, okay, I was saying to you there should be an extra element, which was Africa. Do you remember? Like a literal pillar, because obviously that was the invisible pillar in a sense. But the reason I said that was because you had Public Enemy brother Chuck D on Sway in the morning, and they were talking about how hip hop in Africa is massive, and we know this already for years, like it's been big, but how now he was like the next big stars are emerging from there, because guess what, they're even he was saying they're even nicer than the some of the ones in from New York. Why? Because they're spitting in 2-3 languages. Do you know what I mean? That's mad skills. And he was rating them in a way that was like equal. And the importance of that is that, okay, this thing where we've grown up thinking in a way where we reduce our African roots to like lesser than, or this is, the West is the place to aspire to be, and Africa is like, where the message that Eddie Murphy was trying to change with Coming to America and the recent Coming to America 2, which was like, nah, we're kings and queens, bro. Like, that is like a fake place called Zamunda, but this is like up here, like, and that whole myth of like African flying the eye baby is just not true. All them years back, again, cycles, he was saying that. Same with the idea of the Wakanda thing. That's like, let's remove this idea of the lesser than. And so in hip hop, to have Chuck D, from Public Enemy say that is so important. It's so important. There's so much unity in him doing that. He's not cussing. He's not saying anything derogatory. What he's trying to do is like uphold this narrative of the missing pillar, what I'm saying about Africa. Like, these people, Chuck D and that Public Enemy, all these people, they knew their roots. They understood it in a different way, and they had their idea of how they were going to change the narrative for blackness and Africanness. They came from the time of the Black Panthers. Okay, so they knew about Black power and African power, essentially. So Pan-Africanism. So, how do we cleverly put that in the mainstream with hip hop, this powerful tool and weapon that we have? It was huge from the beginning. And they held it back, just like they're doing the Afro beats for so long. They held it back. but they couldn't. You know, music.
Yeah, they basically, when they got control, they rooted out
They
the
rooted
African,
out the
Pan-African
African bit.
That's what they did.
Yeah, and you know, African Bambaataa
made it basically gangster.
Yeah,
that was this is now the streets.
And it's like, and then sell the idea to the radio players and all these people. Oh, you know, it's what the people want. It's what the people want. It's like
giving them money.
Exactly. So why are these songs still hot till today? Why do young people like jump on the same vibrations that, you know, they'll hear it on TikTok or whatever, and these vibes catch? Why? Like, you're chatting shit. Like, it's just not true. Like, and that performance that we saw, do you remember in the Grammys? They had, because it's hip hop's 50th year.
Yes.
Officially, in the Grammys, they find the Grammys that snubbed the hip hop, you know, for so many years. And they even, I think Jay-Z was part of the when they walked away from it, when they did the protest.
I remember. No, Will Smith was.
Okay, Will Smith was.
Will Smith
okay,
was,
no,
that was that time.
Okay, yeah.
Jay-Z.
Yeah, big up Will Smith. Okay, big up Will Smith, because he doesn't get recognition for these things. It's a time, you know. But like, yeah, right. So they had all of these stars. LL came out, like, oh gosh, name them. Like Queen Latifah came out. Public Enemy came out with Flavor Flav. Like, all these stars came out. Like, it was like, wow, like, you know. And the vibe was high, and everyone in the audience was feeling it. The young ones, the older ones, obviously the people from nostalgia, but just the energy. Because back in the day, hip hop, it was all about the energy. Was KRS on there? He didn't come out. No. We would have remembered. But
felt like he should have been there, though.
Yeah, like, definitely. There's a few who weren't there that should have been there. And like, oh my God, like, so the energy was just there.
Busta Rhymes. Big up Busta Rhymes as well, because I didn't even say Busta Rhymes was native tongue as well.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Native tongue affiliate.
Yeah, he was an affiliate. Yeah.
He come at the back end of it.
Yeah. So yeah, they had these high vibes. And then they just switched it. Like, I guess they were trying to do it bit by bit, but it just switched.
Generational,
yeah, it was generational, but it kind of like just went to the new, and you just felt the tone and the energy change. And everyone they were all kind of discombobulated. It was like, okay, they couldn't vibes like anymore. And obviously there was people still kind of rocking, but they were trying. The shift was obvious. It was really, really obvious. And I thought to myself, wow, look at it in display. Like, that kind of vibration is what these young ones are vibing to and rocking to and feeling like emotional connections to. Like, the music is actually very solemn. So if people don't know this, but the music is so symbiotic with your you know, your being, your frequency. Everything is like, it connects to you, like almost like how in the Avatar when the tails connect. And if you're not conscious about it, you are gonna set your tone and mood to that music. So whatever their intentions are with the record, like say it's heartbreak or, you know, no new friends or whatever kind of energy, that is what is going into you, and that's what you're receiving, and that's what now the frequency that you're putting out just on a day-to-day. Like, people think I was banging the beat or whatever, but
to put it in this way, you're not going to put emo music when you're going to the gym, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you put on emo music going to the gym, well, good luck there. Like, I don't think you're going to pick up one barbell. It's just going to be, peak times. You need the pow energy, or what's it called? Dench. Oh my God, teeth. But anyway, we won't go there. But yeah, like, yeah, so so I didn't work out.
Yeah, but, that's an example of how the music affects
you. It affects you. It affects you. The cymatics of it, isn't it? It's cymatics of it.
Cymatics,
yeah, it is a frequency thing, and we all have our different frequencies, and we have a collective frequency, right? Fear was the one that we were all under during the first part of COVID. And fear is the main one that is pushed. You know, if you watch the news 24 hours, like, that is all you're going to get. Fear. And like the music, the hip hop that's coming out now, from what it was, which was empowerment, energy, like vibes, like all of this kind of energy, skills, like poetry. You know, healthy competition. Like, I'm spitting these bars, but can you, kind of thing. To now, you know, in battle rap, you're hearing gun bars and like, you know, like respecting the skills, but come on, man. And then the N word is like a punctuation mark. Like, shit. Like, I don't want to hear it. My ancestors are like, ugh, every time. So it's just that shift that was obvious in that performance that I really wanted to talk about just then, just to highlight, like, this thing that is real, the vibrancy, the vibe of like hip hop is so real. Like, the fact that in the favelas in, you know, in Brazil to like Senegal and, you know, wherever in Asia, like, you're hearing hip hop, you're seeing the influence of hip hop, you're seeing the dance everywhere. That came from black roots, that came from African roots. man. Peg leg Baines. I looked him up. And the dance moves he was busting, it's like the sturdy today. It's just nuts. Like the connection is real. Like, so yeah, all that to say that, yeah, hip hop still has a duty. I think we're still gonna win. I know we're still gonna win. I think the consciousness has to burst out and rise. Like, people are ready to receive, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing my role in that world as well.
Yes, I agree. I know that, yeah, this is only a short time in terms of human history, so the rise will happen. Just basically saying that De La Soul, big up to De La Soul, because they did do amazing works, and Trugoy, the Dove, he played a fundamental role in that as well, and his ascension at this time is quite sad.
Yeah.
At this time, because really and truly this is a time of De La Soul celebration, and they're going to be exposed to a whole new generation that hasn't actually had the opportunity to know them. And you know, basically when one ascends, the rest of us have to just continue continue the works, essentially, to continue the works to rise up the consciousness, and we shall. So that's what we're on, and we learn from what they did that worked, and what I'm emphasizing on specifically is the communal, the village works. The village works is what's going to make a big shift for us, essentially. And yeah, return to higher level music, higher level vibrations. Yeah. That's essentially the works. That's the point of our purpose.
Share. And like, okay, so to wrap up, we just want to quickly big up to Respect, Rebellion Movement, the Family Forever Movement, Forever Family, and shout out to the National Association of Black Parents UK. I believe that's absolutely right.
Child Agenda.
The Black Child Agenda, and shout out to Andrew Mohammed's Hidden Truth show, and everyone that has highlighted the incident that happened in Ashford recently with the young girl who was attacked by a group of other people who filmed it as well. But also shout out to all those people we just named who are supporting our communities, children, in a racist world, in a world that is attacking black people, attacking our youth every single day. We catch those moments on film, but we talked about the music, we talk about the films, we talk about the lack of representation, all of it that is leading to some of the behaviours that are coming from our young people as well, who are in need of love, and representation. So again, when we are talking about high vibes, and when we're talking about bringing it to wider and wider audience, and when we're asking people who are watching this to support this energy that we have and we're ready to give to the world, this is what it's about. It's about changing our narrative for ourselves and empowering and inspiring more and more people to be the best versions of themselves, which is what everyone needs to kind of recognize, that you can be better than this, you can be better than you were yesterday, and we love you, you know, we love you. So yeah, on that note,
this has been Out of Noise with Stella B
and Nat Night,
and we just brought our piece
to the mic.
So tune in next time, frequently
into our frequency.
That's right. And yeah, like, subscribe, buy us a
coffee. We will do it so well in the future. But give thanks. We love you guys. Peace.